and intro. Live from the Emerald City in Seattle, Washington, the UFO, Bigfoot, and paranormal hotspot of the Pacific Northwest. Coming directly to you, listening in around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Sunday. I am your host, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer, occupying the captain's chair tonight at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including all of our listeners on the digital side at Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can always find out our archive shows for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us all a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and catching up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Well, it's nice to be back, everyone. After a 2-week hiatus, layoff, for me anyway, as I kind of took some time off and then did some traveling, as we all know. My guest tonight, of course, is we've got Peter Davenport on the line. He's going to come on and regale us, as always, with some UFO sighting reports around the country and different parts of the world. And then we've got Susan Masino as our main guest for the show tonight, and she is literally a rock and roll historian. And we're going to hear a little bit about the music industry and how some of those people and participants relate to the paranormal. How about that? That should be a lot of fun. So let's just make sure we've got everybody on board. Peter, are you with me and can you hear me?
I'm here and loud and clear, Michael.
All righty. And Susan, sounds like you're on board as well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you really well.
Nice. Okay. Well, gosh, Peter. First of all, you're telling me that it's actually snowing out there in eastern Washington today, it sounds like.
Yeah, we've had a very mild winter, but today feels as though it's going to catch up to us. It's been really cold. We have light snow coming down. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll see tomorrow morning. Any forecasts of how long or how deep? I haven't had time to look at one yet.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely getting colder here in the Pacific Northwest, and Seattle is actually down in the 30s at night and getting that little chill there. Susan, how about where you're at?
It's been cool. It gets down into the 40s here at night, and that's pretty cold. We're used to 60s and 70s.
Oh, yeah. Now, where are you located currently?
I'm right outside Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, once it start getting cold, I actually heard today on the news that for the first time in how many decades it was snowing in Malibu, California, on the beach there. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. So maybe that storm's going to be heading your way, from the West Coast. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Peter, it's been a while for me, as you well know. I've been kind of taking time off to do some traveling. I went to the East Coast again to see what was going on out there in the Capitol building issues and stuff, and a remarkable trip, but it's nice to be back home and to get caught up with you, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm sure you've got a few reports for us to discuss.
I do, but it's nice to have you back, Michael. You said it's been 2 weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks since you and I have appeared together.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I think the last program we did was 2 days after Christmas. So it's really nice to have you back.
Oh, my. That's
nice to be back.
Christmas seems like so far away already. Oh my goodness, with everything that's been happening.
Yeah, it sure does. Well, the nice thing about being off the air for a few weeks is it gives me more material to choose from for a 30-minute presentation, or technically 23-minute presentation. And that's certainly the case this week. I've been deluged with the reports, and just last Thursday, we succeeded in getting the website finally updated after a 3-week hiatus over the holidays. There are a lot of fascinating reports there. One I'd like to start with, I actually reported back in November. It's a report from a flight crew, a commercial airliner. On the 13th of November, I mentioned that both the pilot and co-pilot of this flight on the Friday night, the 13th of November, saw a very, very bright light pass overhead their aircraft while they were over North Carolina. Well, I've gotten another similar one, and both of these reports are linked to from our homepage at ufocenter.com. Second report that I think I've at least alluded to briefly is from a military flight crew, or at least one pilot. On the 19th of November, that's 6 days after the sighting I just alluded to a moment ago, at least one F-15 fighter, Air Force fighter, reported a pod over Havelock, North Carolina. Again, North Carolina. I don't know, I don't mean to pick on North Carolina, but it just turns out that these sightings have occurred there. Well, it leads, these two sightings that I've reported in the past leads me to one that is now posted from our website, linked to from our website. It occurred on the day after Christmas. A commercial flight crew in the vicinity of Raleigh, North Carolina, they were at 29,000 feet, and they had an object go right by them, Michael. They were headed northbound, and the co-pilot was flying the aircraft, he reports, and they had an object go streaking by their aircraft. He estimates the closing velocity was between the two aircraft, or the aircraft and the unidentified object, of 900 miles an hour. So he had time just to glimpse at it, but it was a daytime sighting.
Oh my.
December 26th, the day after Christmas. What a Christmas present that must have been.
Was this a commercial airliner? Was it military or?
Commercial airliner.
Yeah.
Out of Wisconsin. It was flying from Columbia, South Carolina, north up to Dulles International when the sighting occurred. Daytime sighting. It occurred at 3:45 p.m. on this Saturday afternoon. And I talked to the co-pilot, and he admitted that he was a little shaken by this because they were in airspace that was being, of course, tracked on radar, and apparently the radar showed nothing, which is very unusual. So,
you know, these things
as a pod, a white or silver color. He says it was the size of a football, but it's not very telling because you don't know at what distance that football is from the observer, of course.
Yeah. Well, you know, a white pod sounds like one of those Tic Tac things that the Nimitz veterans were looking at, but they said that was about a 40-foot long Tic Tac shape object. So who knows? A football is pretty small, so that thing must have been close if they noticed it at all. My gosh, that's fascinating.
One thing that I don't understand about his report is the allusion to a football, because you don't know whether he's saying it was the absolute size of a football or whether it was just the relative size of a football held in a certain length from the viewer's eyes.
Or maybe he was just describing the shape of it, who knows? Yeah, good point.
But it's a good report. I had a long conversation with this pilot, or co-pilot, and he was very matter of fact. He actually comes from outside the United States, and he immigrated to the United States, I presume, to fly.
My goodness. Yeah.
He was very convincing and very sober-minded. A quite impressive report. And again, this report is linked to from my website, ufocenter.com. So if people want to read the original report, it's available there.
Well, so, Peter, are you finding that commercial pilots now, or even military pilots, are being less reluctant to report these things to you? Because normally we never would have heard anything like that from a commercial pilot.
I agree, Michael. It's a heartening change in the philosophy of ufology. This co-pilot that I just alluded to contacted me because I'd sent the chief flight instructor of the airline that he flies for an email and explained what I'd received, and that we knew the company, we knew the flight number, but we didn't know the names of the crews. And I requested contact information for the pilot and co-pilot of this flight. And the next thing I knew, the co-pilot was calling me. So I think your point is a good one. It's well taken with me, and I'm roundly heartened by the fact that more pilots are coming forward.
Oh, yeah.
They're more willing to do so.
Dick Haynes from NARCAP would just be in hog heaven right now if he's getting phone calls like you are. But he's retired, of course, and kind of not doing the military pilot sighting reports right now. But it's definitely, I think, ever since the Senate Intelligence Committee has demanded now a report on UAP, people are using that as, or at least, green light to talk about it, sounds like.
Yeah. And I think the article in the New York Times back in December of 2017 probably had a major effect on pilots as well.
Oh, yeah.
They probably recognized that if the U.S. Navy, it wasn't just one aircraft, it wasn't just one pilot, as you know better than I, it was several pilots that were tracking those objects over the Pacific. If they can report them, I guess these pilots believe that they can report them too.
Yeah, that's good. Well, don't let me interrupt. I'm sure you have a few more.
Yeah. Next one comes from the 2nd of January, Buxton, Maine. I don't know where Buxton is. I spent a lot of time in the down east state, but don't know where Buxton is. The gentleman describes that at about 9:30 p.m. East Coast time on the Saturday, the 2nd of January, he was out to watch the quadranted meteor shower. And he had just watched the International Space Station pass directly overhead when his attention was drawn to a very peculiar white light, which just appeared to be coming directly at him and growing brighter with every passing second. When it got close to him, he realized that it was not one light, but it appeared to be a galaxy of up to 5 white lights with a red light in the middle of them. That got his attention immediately, and this guy is a seasoned sky watcher, so he's not easily deceived. The light flew off, and then a second one entered his visual field, and then a third one. And he was apparently wearing earphones, I presume to listen to music, but I'm not sure of that. And it was then that he realized there was a sound coming from this third cluster of lights. And as it got closer and closer, he heard an ever-growing, ever louder roar. He describes it as a roar coming from the object. It's a very interesting sighting. He estimates that the third cluster of at least 5 white lights with a red light embedded in that cluster was within 200 yards of his location. So,
wow.
it was. The other intriguing part of his report is he goes on to report that the object was close enough to him that he could see, he asserts in his report, he could see a cabin at the leading edge of this cluster of lights. So those 5 white lights may not have been independent lights, but rather attached to the same object.
Right.
And he could see a cabin, and he could see it because of the ground light reflecting off of it. He said it had a highly reflective coating, or a very smooth surface. So it's a very interesting report, and I believe that one is posted to the UFO Center website as well. But he estimated its size because it was so close to him. He was able to get a good estimate on its size, and his estimate was that it was 300 feet long, 150 feet wide, and 80 feet in depth, dorso-ventrally. So it was a very large object, and he described it very precisely.
And if it's that close, to almost pick out some kind of cabin on the object, oh my. I mean, it sounds like these things are becoming more and more bold, to show themselves, for sure. Here's an interesting thing you're going to love here, Peter. I just got a impromptu report from Shane, who's one of our listeners in the chat room. He said, wait till you hear this. Many years ago, a friend of mine in the Army said that he and a friend of his were sweeping the computer room at one of the bases. Suddenly, a message comes across the computer saying, incoming aircraft, non-terrestrial. That's what the message said. A group of personnel rushed into the room quickly, pushed them out, and closed the door. About 20 minutes later, the door opened, and they were told that they could come in and continue sweeping and cleaning up. Wow. Incoming non-terrestrial craft.
Holy man. Where that base was, Michael?
Many years ago, a friend of mine in the Army and said no, but you know what? Shane is watching right now. So if Shane, you want to get a hold of Peter or fill out one of those, online reports at Newfork National UFO Reporting Center, I'm sure Peter would love to have the details of that one.
You bet. And it's ironic that he reported that tonight, because probably not more than an hour ago I received not a report, but a query from a gentleman who had served in the military in Europe 50 years ago, he said, 1970 and 71, exactly the same time I was there. And he said he'd had a very dramatic sighting at a anti-aircraft missile defense site. Would I be interested in it? And I said, of course I would be interested in it. I'd love to read what you have to report. So if we could get that report that Shane alludes to together with this other gentleman's report, we'll post them together.
Yeah. Okay, I will make a note of that, and if Shane sends you the material or sends it to me, maybe you can carbon copy me as well, Shane. We'll make sure we get it on next week as well to get any more details of that. If this was quite a few decades ago, then that's going to make a big difference in how we assess, what the military knows, I'm sure. But I think we've got
about these things for decades, Michael.
Oh, I know, and you're the ones that have told me that right from the beginning. I remember you telling me that you actually had a meeting with some guys at the Pentagon at one point that really woke you up, back decades ago. And it's fascinating to me that they haven't come out and got us all up to speed yet.
Yeah. I don't know what they think they're hiding these days, but they're certainly sticking to their story that UFOs are not real objects. Nothing could be further from the truth, in my opinion, from my experience.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Peter, I don't want to rush you, so why don't we do this? Why don't we get out your contact info in a decent manner, and then that hotline phone number, just to make sure people have that in their hip pocket.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for allowing me to do that, Michael. I always welcome calls from the Spaced Out Radio audience, and I'm getting more and more of them all the time, so your program must be growing.
Very good.
The telephone hotline number for reporting a UFO is area code 206-722-3000. That number again is 206-722-3000. It's been the same number for 46 years.
In every FAA tower in the country, and military and commercial as well. So it's everywhere.
and a lot of 911 facilities too.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So if a person sees a UFO and dials 911, odds are he's going to be given our number, and we'll be the next number he calls.
And you'll probably get Peter Davenport on the phone, believe it or not. That's how Peter rolls.
Unfortunately, that is the case.
Good for you. Go ahead and give out that address. So if people are, sitting around and want to support what you do, send you a check or money order or something for $5-10, whatever. What would that address be?
The mailing address, the postal system address is the National UFO Reporting Center, P.O. Box 700, Davenport, Washington. That address again is P.O. Box 700, Davenport, Washington, and the zip code is 99122. 99122. And
how about that, Susan? There's not very many paranormal researchers that have a town named after them, that he lives in. I love it.
And if anybody has seen a UFO, whether 7 minutes ago or 7 decades ago, I encourage them to record it. A lot of people want to talk about it. What I would like to have them do is write it down and submit a written report, and submit that report using our online report form at ufocenter.com. And we just updated that website, as I mentioned earlier in the program, by posting 380 new reports. So people who visit our website occasionally might like to go there and see the latest reports, Michael. There are a lot of really good ones.
Yeah.
Including the ones I'm talking about tonight.
Well, and the thing I really love is that you can go to the New Fork website, and you can punch in your own hometown, your own neck of the woods, and you can find out what other people are seeing, that you might have missed. It's a fascinating way of keeping up with what's going on in your area.
Yeah. And we're, for the benefit of our readers, or our listeners, who have been listening to me on Space Out Radio, if you've been to our website or used the online report form, there are a few awkward aspects to it. And I just posted a statement that we're going to be upgrading the website here very shortly, and I'm open to any improvements that people would like to have incorporated in our update. So spend a little time on that website and see how it suits you. It would be my counsel to our listeners. And if you find any kind of aspect to that website that you think ought to be changed, just send an email to director@ufocenter.com, and we'll address the issue.
Wonderful. Again, Peter, it's been a pleasure having you on tonight. Thank you for the updates. And hunker down there, and we'll see what happens next week, and talk to you again next Monday. Next Sunday. What am I thinking? Next Sunday is Sunday night.
Thanks for the airtime. It's always a pleasure to work with you, Michael.
Oh, thank you. All righty. Well, we're going to take our first break, folks. We will be back with more Spaced Out Sunday in 6 minutes, so hang on.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans. It's John Resnick, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. For more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you addicted to the woo? Good. Me too. This is Dave Scott, and you can woo it up with me every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, for 3 hours of great entertainment in the subjects you love. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, intuition. Yes, we hit it all 5 days a week. Look for us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, my friends, we own the night.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Need that weekend's supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're at adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckford, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
And we're back, folks. Welcome to Spaced Out Sunday. Susan Masino has been a rock and roll journalist and a paranormal researcher for over 30 years. She has written 6 books, created and hosted the 94.1, that's what it is, JoJo local stage radio show from 1997 to 2004, and has produced 8 local music compilation CDs. Masino also appears on the Van Halen DVD, if you can imagine that, the early years, and Let There Be Rock, the movie. Her book and the story of AC/DC, Let There Be Rock, is now published in 11 languages around the world. And if you're interested in Cheap Trick, Leslie West, Ted Nugent, Gene Simmons, Greg Allman, and AC/DC, and Van Halen, and all those folks, and how that actually ties in with the paranormal, this is the show tonight for you. Susan, welcome back.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, awesome.
It's great to be here.
Oh, it's great that you spent some time here with us tonight. I apologize for it being so late your time, because we're out here on the Pacific Coast, and you've got a couple more hours on us, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm a night owl. It's fine.
Good, good. By the way, wasn't that kind of interesting, at least kind of listening to Peter's reports on the things that have recently come into the National UFO Reporting Center?
It's amazing, and I have always believed in UFOs. I've seen a few things myself. I think we've been visited by people from other civilizations. And I think that I'd like to see full disclosure of that. And I really think it comes down to countries that have more technology than the other. I think that's because some people have interacted differently with them than we have as a country. And I think that's the big deal, is that nobody wants to give away what secrets they have. So it's...
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. And the boldness now of these reports that Peter is relaying to us are just remarkable to me. I mean, I've been interested in the paranormal and specifically UFOs for as long as you have, for decades, and I've never seen reports that are so close up, sometimes daytime sightings of craft that just, they don't even care anymore to be stealthy. It's weird.
No, it's funny because they act kind of like, well, oh, that's not real, but we're seeing them pretty much around the world, pretty much daily.
Yeah.
There's something daily that people are seeing during the day. They're seeing it at night. It again, it doesn't have sound. It's hundreds of feet or yards wide or whatever. I'm waiting. I'm excited. I can't wait to actually be able to communicate with somebody from a different world. That'd be amazing.
Yes, and you know what? I was thinking about this when the whole controversy of Trump and the voter fraud and all that kind of stuff. I was thinking at the last minute, what if Trump would be the disclosure president and come out and say something? I was just waiting for that, and it never happened. So you wonder what could be happening over the next few months, in that regard, because obviously the Senate Intelligence Committee has demanded a report on these things now. So who knows what they're going to come up with?
Well, they're still going to try to keep a lot of it secret. It's funny because years ago, I don't know if you remember this TV show called Sightings. It was produced by Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
And of course, it was like the only thing on TV like it, right? Yeah. So I never missed an episode. And we got, a computer, and AOL was new, and chat rooms were new. And so I got into the Sightings chat room. And one night, somebody was in there, and they were talking about UFOs. And this had to have been, I want to say, 94, maybe, around 1994. And I was, he seemed to know a lot. So I was asking him all these questions. And finally, he said to me, "Can I speak to you privately?" And, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I just thought, sure, why not? So he opened up a side chat, and he started telling me stuff about, that he is in the military, that he monitors those chat rooms. So he's not supposed to talk to me, but I knew things that he wondered how I knew them.
Ah.
And I actually, some of it I had seen in a dream that I didn't know was real until he said it was.
Oh my.
So that's why he wanted to talk to me, but then he said to me the exact same thing that I just mentioned. He said that different countries have different levels of alien technology, and that's why the secrecy.
Oh my! Wow, that's inside scoops. I love this. This is great.
And then he said too, which I've always figured this out, because they're not like coming from millions of miles away, because wouldn't we see them coming after a while? I'm like, oh yeah, 500 miles out,
yeah.
There's a ship coming from Mars. So he validated the fact that they come in and out of our dimension.
Oh, now that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, they do not travel from millions of miles. They pop in and out of our 3D reality.
Yeah. And, Peter has told me about certain sighting reports where people say they're seeing something in even the daylight sky that just seems to disappear into a slit in the sky almost. Like you said, another dimension. Okay. They just pop in and pop out.
Absolutely, and that makes so much sense because now we've seen them travel more, if you will. We've seen videos of them taking off and, shooting up into the sky and all kinds of fun stuff like that. But I think that's really where it comes down to, though, is that certain countries are afraid to give up what they've got.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants a foothold above the other folks. And that ties in, Susan. I'm sorry to waylay you from rock and roll right now, but I'm having a fun time picking your brain on what you know. I was involved in the Admiral Wilson smoking gun UFO memo of the century, that was released last year, the beginning of last year. In that memo itself, that my client Grant Cameron, was able to uncover, it is actually saying that the military, this was Admiral Thomas R. Wilson, who was telling Dr. Eric Davis, what he knows about UFOs and this subcontractor for the military that was doing crash retrievals. And Admiral Wilson was telling the story that the military is in possession of a craft that can travel interstellar space, through our atmosphere, underwater, and through dimensions. That was in the memo. through dimensions, and that freaked everybody out. They're going, "You got to be kidding me!" And now you're kind of corroborating way back when that same thing was being bantered. Can you imagine what the Pentagon knows that we just don't know? As far as the public, my God, maybe the public is not really ready for this stuff. Who knows? Oh, are you frozen? Looks like we might have lost you there for a second. Let me just see if I can bring you back. Dun, 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 dun. Well, I've lost Susan, but we'll just see here how we do this. Participants. Where'd she go? Well, okay, I'm going to wait a few minutes, see if she can find that link again in her email and pop back on. And if not, I will get a hold of her and see if I can. Well, let me just call her on the phone and we will continue on one way or another. See if we can hook back up. We were just getting good at getting to the good part.
Hello?
Hey, Susan, it's Michael.
What happened? Did we get shut down?
Yeah, really? It was like we're talking about something too controversial or something. I don't know. What happened was all of a sudden you got froze on the video,
right.
And then your audio stopped. So I have continued on with the broadcast. I haven't closed it down, but I'm just trying to figure out if you can join me again with that link that you might still have.
Yeah, I'm going to try it. Let me try it again. I did try it before.
And if nothing else, we've got you on the phone. We can do that as well. So either way, but we'll see if we can get back on Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It says to me I'm not connected to the internet.
Oh, okay. You're having connectivity on your end, maybe, huh? That's all right. You can.
I'm going to close it out and open it up again, but that's really strange.
Yeah, that is strange. But that's what they're talking about. That the emergency management system's going to kick in any day now. Who knows what's happening with the power and the internet connectivity? I will let you. Well, actually, why don't you just stay on the line right here on the phone while you do that, and we'll just talk you through it.
Okay, yeah, because it won't let me go to it. For some reason, it's saying I'm not online.
Okay, maybe you'll have to turn your computer off completely and start over again. Who knows?
Yep, I'm going to try that. Yep, I'm going to try it right now. That's crazy.
Well, I tell you what, if people, there are rumors out there that martial law is going to be imposed and the internet's going down and the television stations are going to go dark. If that ever happens, people are going to freak out not having connectivity with, communication with friends. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's funny because those go along with a lot of rumors that really have not happened at all.
Right.
So I'm a little bit hesitant about believing in it again, that, we have to worry about something like that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen anything else materialize, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I started it, I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on, but it's still telling me I'm not connected to the internet, which is ridiculous.
Do you have
TV is fine.
Yeah. I mean, when you go to your settings, does it say that you're on the internet that you normally are?
I'm going to look. It was saying I was not online at all.
Yeah. Sometimes what happens to me is my internet will bump me over to a less powerful internet connectivity that I have in my house. I have multiple ways to connect to the internet. Sometimes it kicks me off the main one. I don't know why it does that, but
yeah, I'm looking right here, and it says I'm not online, so I'm going to go online, but it is so strange.
maybe it's that. Maybe you were talking about that military dude, you know, and maybe he's just giving you a friendly reminder that he's still there, you know.
Oh my God! That, you know, he told me that too, and at the end of our conversation, he had to go really quick, and I never saw him under that name again in the chat room.
Yeah.
But he thanked me, and he said, "You're really smart. Gotta go," and he was gone.
Wow, that's almost like. Did you ever see the television series Hellier that on Netflix, where this guy called Indrid Cold, or his call sign was Indrid Cold, was doing this same kind of insider communications with this group of paranormal researchers until they found out that this guy was working for the military or something in the background. It was a fascinating story.
Oh wow, yeah. No, this it was so weird because as soon as I had talked about a dream I had actually. Yeah, here it won't go online for me, and I've turned it on and off twice already.
Okay, well, listen, don't worry about it. If you don't mind, we'll just continue on like this. Because I've got your audio. Everybody can hear. Okay. We'll just do it that way. Matter of fact, let's see what kind of time frame we got. Yeah, we got 6 minutes before the top of the hour anyway. So we'll do this. And then during the break for at the top of the hour, we'll just see if we can hook up again. If not, we'll just continue on with our interview over the phone for sure. But wow, this is fascinating stuff that we're dealing with here tonight.
I'm going to go find my password because it's asking for a password to get in, which it shouldn't be asking for, but I'm going to go get that. So
oh my, I think you've been like targeted, it sounds like. Wow.
This is just, it's like, oops. I wasn't even finished saying what the rest that he told me. I mean, he told me a lot of stuff, and it was just crazy.
Well, how long ago was that you had this conversation?
It had to have been because we lived in the apartment. My son, we moved in when he was 3. So I want to say maybe 95 because he was still a baby, and I believe sightings was on around that time, very close to that time.
Yeah.
And, it won't let me connect to the internet. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go try to get the number,
the modem thing. Well, you know what we'll do? Why don't you just relax, and we'll take our break now. And then I will come back, you and I I'll leave this telephone line open so you can communicate with me, and we're going to take our break at the top of the hour here. Folks, we'll be right back with Spaced Out Sunday after this.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblelicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
How's it going?
I'm right here. I'm
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I'm bringing
Oh,
you
okay.
the Woo
Great.
every Monday
No
through
problem.
Friday on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going all out to bring you the strangest, oddest stories and subjects I could find for
Yeah.
your entertainment. Why? Because when we hit
They're
peak
in the
Woo,
chat room, they're
I
saying,
know I've done my job.
Susan's
so come
being
tune us
censored.
in at spacedoutradio.com, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, and together, my friends, we
Yeah,
own
that
the
doesn't
night.
happen very often. I'm wondering if this is part of a connectivity problem in your area, not just you. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because, my TV's okay. And my phone, my landline's okay, but it's the internet just doesn't want me to be on the internet, I guess.
Okay, well, let me bring us back here into the show. You just hang in there. You're doing fine the way you are. Welcome back to hour number 2 on Spaced Out Sunday, everyone. I'm your host, Michael W. Hall, the Paranormal Lawyer. Thanks for joining me. And we welcome back everyone listening in our terrestrial affiliates, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And on the digital side, we are very proud to be on Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can always check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot and shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, catching up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. And we are back with Susan Masino. And we are kind of going around a glitch that we found here in the Matrix, it looks like.
I know. I tried to get back online, and it just said it wouldn't accept my password, so this has become a real fun game here.
Do you, obviously you have a modem somewhere in the house there, right?
Oh, yeah. I just, here we go. I just got online. I put in my password from the modem.
Okay.
And it looks like it's gonna work.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my Zoomcast page just to make sure that I'm on.
Yep, I can see myself. I join with video. That would help if I click that. So.
Cool. Okay, cool. We're getting close then.
Yeah, we're getting there.
There you are. Okay, admit Susan. Here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna put my headphones back on.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh man, you're back.
We've overcome.
Wow, good for you. That was fascinating.
That was weird.
Now let's do it. Let's do a test here. We're going to test this, and we're going to talk about that military troll guy that you were talking to a few years back, and we'll see if he's really listening, and he wants us to know that he's listening, and wants us to steer away from talking about him. He'll probably cut us off again. So I don't know. This was back in 1995 or so. You're saying that this conversation took place.
What he was interested in actually is that I do have prophetic dreams, and a lot of times I have very vivid dreams. And this was back. The dream was in the 80s that I had it, and I dreamed that it was like the end of the world, and people were going crazy, and it was panic. And I was alone in my apartment, and all of a sudden this Nordic, as they call him now, this guy materialized right in front of me in the dream. And he gave me a gun to help me escape. And okay, it shot needles.
Whoa.
And I have a needle phobia.
Oh, yeah.
Severe needle phobia. So right away I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And he said, because it would kill somebody if I shot one, and they were heat censored, so I didn't have to aim well. And he said, if you just want to put him to sleep, he changed the setting on the gun, and he showed me how to do it.
Oh man, this is a vivid dream.
It was very vivid. It was terrifying. And then he said to me, okay, he said, remember, because I was going to make a phone call to a friend that I was still there hiding, and I wanted to be picked up and so we could get out of the city. And he said, when you make that phone call, they're going to know you're in here. So get ready. And as I turned to ask him a question, he was gone. So when I ended up in this sightings chat room, I just happened to start talking about this gun that shot heat-seeking needles that could either kill you or put you to sleep. And this guy that had been talking about the UFOs came at me right away, and he said, where did you see that gun? And I started to say where I saw it, and then that's when I got a private thing and said, can I talk to you privately?
Oh, my.
So then when I went on privately, he said, again, tell me the truth. He says, have you ever been in the military? And I said, no, never. And he says, how did you see that gun? And I told him again, and he says, well, that exists, that gun. And I said, what? And he told me back, and this was, like I said, 94, 95, he told me then that those guns exist.
Oh, my
and how
word.
would I know about it? He just couldn't get over that I knew about them.
Yeah. Now, did you ever get any follow-up from that conversation with anybody else, like a Man in Black or anything like that?
I didn't, and as he said goodbye, he said he's not supposed to be talking to me at all, and he says, before he said goodbye, he said, hey, I gotta go. You're really smart. Goodbye. And then I never saw that name again in the chat room. Doesn't mean he wasn't back there, but I never saw his name.
Yeah. Do you remember the name? Was it something unique?
It was nothing. It wasn't like a person's name, or, it wasn't anything memorable. But I'll never forget what he told me, because he's like, oh yeah, they're interdimensional. They pop in and out. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's cool.
Oh, my. I mean, little did we think we were going to be talking about this when you came on the show tonight, because you are the rock and roll historian. Did you ever... Well, let me ask you this. It sounds like you've said you've had some prophetic dreams during your lifetime. Or first of all, are you an only child? Did you have any siblings? And what are they like? Who are they like?
Well, actually, I have three. I had four. My mom had three different families. We had the first husband, she had two sons. The second husband, she had my older sister. And the third husband, she had me and my younger sister.
Wow.
So, yeah. So and my older brothers were way older than me, like 18 and 16 years older than me. So I didn't really get to know them, growing up that much. But my mom was a teacher, and she ran restaurants, and then she became an antique dealer. So she was, and they had, between my mom and dad, they had many businesses. They had hotels and restaurants, and actually they owned a ballroom in the 50s when I was born.
Oh, my.
They had Louis Armstrong and the Dorsey brothers, and I don't know if you know who Gene Krupa is.
Of course.
But, well, so, any tour that doesn't know who he is, I just kind of walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
But the folklore in the family goes that Gene Krupa found... See, they used to lock me in the ballroom to play, because where am I going to go? The main street or the river? There was really no choice, okay? So they'd lock me, and I remember that. I remember them throwing me in the ballroom, and so I would go up on stage and try to play with what was ever there, and I was so little, I could barely touch the piano or anything. So one night when Gene Krupa was playing there, I guess I left my doll behind, and he came into the kitchen, which was all on the same floor as the ballroom and our small apartment right off the kitchen. And my mom says that Gene Krupa came in that night holding up a doll, and he said, hey, I bet somebody's looking for this. And so he came in and he tucked me in.
Oh, my goodness, Susan.
Yeah.
Oh, talk about... You almost had to become a rock and roll historian if you've got those kind of stories. Oh, my word.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? He actually touched me. I mean, Gene Krupa.
Yeah.
And I love his playing. I am a huge Gene Krupa fan. But the fact that literally I came into contact with him,
yeah,
that's really, really cool, I gotta admit.
Oh, you could write a children's book, a little storybook about that one. Being tucked in at night by Gene Krupa one night. Oh, I can just see it if it was Christmas Eve or something like that too. Even know where the setting is. Oh wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. What a great thing though. My mom told everybody that story, so cool.
And obviously, then you sing, Louis Armstrong and Gene. The big bands came through there. You were then at a young age exposed to music, all sorts of styles. It sounds like.
Oh, yeah. When I was born, actually, my dad, it was in the mid-50s, and they owned the ballroom from 53 to 58. I lived there until I was 3. But he said that during the day, they just put me in a stroller and put me in front of the jukebox, and he said, God forbid if I ran out of quarters. So...
that would keep you pacified then, it sounds like.
It did, yes. And then I actually have memories... Because I was bored, I was a bored kid. I was bored right off the bat. And and my parents would put me to bed, and then they go back to work. So I'd be in the crib by myself, bored out of my mind, and I would listen to the music through the walls. So my sister told me the other day, which I love this because I actually kind of remember this a little bit. She said I was really a terror, and she said that I used to walk my crib across the room to turn the light switch back on. And I said, did my crib have wheels? And she's like, no, they didn't. So, yeah, I was rowdy.
Oh, man. The military troll was right. You are a smart kid. I
was on a mission.
That's right. Oh, my, Susan, I can just see that right now. You've got a beautiful ballroom setting. I can almost see, Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz kind of stuff, and you're off to the side in your parents' apartment that run the whole thing, and you're in the midst of this entire, you've got memories, I can imagine.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned Lucy and Desi, because my mom was a redhead, and she reminded me of Lucille Ball, and my dad reminded me, he looked a lot like Danny Thomas.
Oh, my. Yeah.
So those two, I figured they always reminded me of my parents on TV. But, I got to see some great stuff. I mean, we moved up north for a while, and that's when, Wisconsin, very sacred ground. Lots of Native Americans there. And lots of portals. Oh my goodness. Wisconsin has got a lot of crazy stuff.
Is that right?
Between about 4 and 8, I grew up north outside of Wausau. And the Menominee Native American Reservation was right down the tracks from us. Although those kids weren't allowed to go to school with us, which I thought was really weird. But I had a lot of fun up there, and I lived in the nature a lot because my parents were always busy and not around. So I just stayed outside the whole time. But at that age, that's when beings were talking to me at night when I was falling asleep.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, we got to hear that. Oh, my goodness. Are you talking about... how do you know they were... Tell us a little bit more about that. That is fascinating.
Well, I went through a period of quite a long time of, as soon as I started falling asleep, I would hear them talking, and to me they were always up along the ceiling of my room. I couldn't see people, but they were telling me things, which were irritating to me because at one time I sat up and I yelled at them to be quiet because I didn't want my parents to hear them and me get in trouble. So... I said, would you, pipe it down, people? And and then I realized that, and I didn't know what these were, but as I was falling asleep, I would have out-of-body experiences, which were terrifying to me because I was so little. But as soon as I started falling asleep, like the windows became 100 feet tall, the door became 100 feet tall, and all of a sudden I was way above my body, and it scared the heck out of me.
So those would have been potentially, the childhood nightmares that you get, that kind of thing. When you woke up from that, did you rush in to tell your parents, or how did you deal with that?
I never told anybody because I was afraid I'd get in trouble.
Wow.
So it was something, and maybe I knew just to not tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because, they would have thought I was crazy. And so, it was kind of something that I knew that I was supposed to learn things from these people.
Oh.
But I wasn't supposed to tell anybody.
Do you remember the substance of any contact? When you would go out of body like that?
Not really, because it terrified me so much. It's almost like I kind of tried to black out of it when the doors and windows would, I would try to, go to sleep and then I would remember the next day, but I didn't understand what those were until decades later. I didn't know I was leaving my body.
Yeah. Did you happen to notice, this is an old UFO researcher talking here, and I always try to, ask pertinent questions. Did you ever happen to notice that that your pajamas or anything were on incorrectly when you woke up in the morning, or any telltale signs of your feet being dirty because you're walking barefoot out on the grass or anything like that?
Well, actually, I don't remember any of that type of thing as a kid. And I've never written about this, but in the 1980s, I definitely had abduction experiences.
Wow. In the 80s. How old would you have been? Let's see. How old approximately were you then?
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s. Let's see, early 30s. So yeah, I was around the 1986. So I would have been about 31. I actually I became pregnant and I lost the child into the 4th month.
Oh my! And, you know what that is an indication of, potentially, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness!
It's worse than you think, because I was very excited about having a child, and I was having these dreams about going places and being taken places. And then when I ended up losing the baby in the beginning of the 4th month, when they have to do a procedure when that happens. And when the doctor came in to tell me about it, he said that it's very rare, but there was a placenta, but there is no fetus.
Oh no! Oh, yeah. I'm not laughing at you. This is classic, Susan, as you well know, because indeed that's what happens at about that time frame. I've heard from others that they're, because there's verification that you're pregnant, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And obviously you're feeling it yourself and your body and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's gone. It's not like you said, a DNC would find the fetus, and have to take it out, and it's not even there. Oh my word! Have you ever had then any subsequent abduction or experiencing situations where you were presented with small children or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. For about 2 years after that, and I had a lot of dreams during that time, but for about 2 years I kept going to see a child that was in like an incubator. So I wasn't allowed to hold the child, but I kept going to visit that child. And it was a repetitive dream for a long time.
Would this incubator have been just a normal bed kind of thing, or was it one of those cylinders with fluid in it and that kind of deal?
It wasn't. It was kind of a cross between the two, but I remember it being completely enclosed.
Ah.
Like I couldn't reach in or anything like that.
And did you see other children or other fetuses in the same situation, or was it just that one that you were shown?
I felt like there were other people there with me, but I didn't see them. And it was very frustrating for me, because it took me a while to realize, like, this. I think this happened. I think this really happened. And I was upset, very upset about it. Like, I know that you kind of agree to have these things happen. And I was very angry at losing a child I wasn't happy with. You know, I didn't want to cooperate. And so I'll tell you about the coolest dream that I've had about being on a UFO, and this was during the time of me being abducted.
Of course.
And this got to be in a movie, I tell you. It's okay. So I'm in a ship, and it's very gold. It's like cedar lining, you know, cedar color. And there are beings that are bigger than me, and they're robed, and they're not really paying attention to me. So I'm kind of walking around, like, okay, you know, I'll take a tour, right? And this is so weird. It sounds crazy, but this is the dream. So I opened a door, and my daughter was on a bed and I don't know why I knew this, but I was told this somehow, mentally I was told this, that she was in like 2 to 3 inches of saline solution, salt water, and her memories were being projected up on a screen behind her, and they were collecting them. And I felt like I had interrupted it, so I closed the door and just kept walking. I found another door, and I opened it up, and there my dad was on a table, and he was in the saline solution, and they were projecting his memories on the wall. And again, I shut the door thinking, oh, you know, I'm interrupting. I felt like I was intruding. So then I went to a, you know, the proverbial circular type shape of a room, but it had like a sunken living room type thing. So I decided to walk down there. I mean, nobody was telling me not to, so I was exploring. And as I'm walking down through this area, something hits me in the ankle, like really hard, and like a wooden ball, and it hurt. And I was like, what? You know, I kind of kicked it out of the way, and then I leaned down, or I got down to see where it come from, and I'm just gonna tell you, okay. On both sides of the sunken living room, there were like hundreds of little people that were about a foot tall. And they were playing a game. And I had walked through it.
Oh my, that's just exactly like Rip Van Winkle. Remember the
I know.
The
and
boat?
when I saw the people, I was so humbled that I grabbed the ball and I put it back in the middle and I said, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, and I got up and I left. I walked away, and I'm just like, oh my God, I feel so embarrassed. But yeah.
Oh my word, I have never heard that kind of detail, you know, in a situation that could be an abduction experience, could be a dream, who knows, but the fact that you remember this so vividly even today, you know,
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, leads me to believe, because every once in a while in your lifetime you'll have those things that seem like dreams, and maybe they were, but they're so vivid that you're never going to forget them.
Oh no, not at all. And I've heard so many stories that are similar to mine that at the time people didn't talk about it that much.
Oh, no way. But if you mind, I'd like to ask a few more follow-up questions. I love these kinds of brand new stories that no one has ever heard before. These little people, how small would they have been? Do you have any idea?
They look like Ken and Barbie doll size.
Oh, okay. Good.
About that size.
Good analogy.
And what's two things that happened to me while this was going on. One night I really wanted, I knew something was happening. I could tell something was happening because I could feel, like as I'm falling asleep, I'd feel something come to the side of my bed and all that. And we lived on the 3rd floor of this apartment where the windows were up along the ceiling, like long, narrow windows. And we had a driveway that went down below us, but you never see the headlights. They wouldn't reflect way up. And so one night I went to bed and I'm thinking, I'm going to stay awake. I'm going to stay awake no matter what. I'm going to find out what is going on here. Sure enough, I'm laying in bed that night, and these lights, really like super bright white lights, come down into the window. Not up, but down.
Whoa.
And I jumped up to see what it was, and the next thing was the next day, and I'm sleeping in my bed. I have no memory of anything at all.
Yeah.
I just remember jumping up to see that light.
Oh my.
That was it.
Okay. Did you notice, Susan, just right now, I was asking you about the small little beings, and you totally changed the subject.
Well, that's okay. The second thing that I saw with those little people is that after I had that dream, that I didn't see what the light was. And this is like the craziest thing, but I swear to God, I sat up one day and one of those little guys was in my room and he ran out the door. He stopped, he looked at me and ran into my bathroom.
Is that right?
And I was like, I'm thinking I'm dreaming. This is not real. And I got up and, of course, I went and looked in the cupboards and stuff and nothing was there. But it was one of those guys, about 12 inches tall.
Can you describe maybe what they were wearing or any hair color or whatever they looked like?
They just kind of, I guess because of their size, they looked human to me, but the size of a doll. And there were a lot of them. Like, on that ship there was seems like there was thousands of them.
Is that in that one sunken living room area?
Yeah. And they were playing a game. There were some on one side and some on the other. And it was,
if there were thousands of them, I mean, that's like, wow. How big of a living room would this be?
It didn't see, because it was all covered, you couldn't really see it till you got down and looked down underneath. And the only reason why I did that, I think if I would have walked through and looked, I wouldn't have seen anybody. Yeah. And because I got hit in the ankle by this ball, I got down on my hands and knees like, what the heck? What's going on here? But it's weird because now, decades after the stream, I've heard of talking about AI, about collecting your memories and, tapping into your brain and doing all that stuff. And I'm just like, I wonder where they got that.
Exactly. Exactly. And how, do you remember how big a ball was that hit you and what kind of was it like a lead feeling kind of a ball or a cue ball or?
It was more like a croquet ball, like a wooden ball.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. About that size. And it hit me right in the ankle. It hurt really bad.
Did you happen to have any communication at all? Any thoughts or any did they try to communicate with you? Like, get out of the way, lady, or anything like that?
No, it seemed like, I guess because, I was really humbled by the fact that I walked through a game and all these people I didn't even know were there. So I was very humbled and I kind of think they thought I was a little bit silly. Like, she's just, just looking around. Let her look around. She's cool.
Oh my goodness. Did you get the feeling then that they were not that they knew who you were for some reason?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And that they were not to be afraid of.
Yeah.
There was no fear at all.
Oh my word. Now you don't remember being taken down from those experiences, put into bed, or it's just like you wake up again in the morning? Is that what happens?
Pretty much, and going back to like the out-of-body experience, I had that as a child. But during that time that I lived in that apartment, one day, and this is how I really, understand that phenomena, is I went back to sleep. It was an early, cold morning in the winter, sunny morning, but really cold, and I got up early, and I decided I'm going to go back to sleep for a little bit, and I fell asleep. The next thing I knew, I was staring at the wall with the sun coming in. My windows were above me, and I'm up against the ceiling. And I look at the wall and thinking, I thought I went to sleep, and then I looked down, and as soon as I saw my body, I just snapped back into my body.
Oh, wow.
It scared me, really scared me. But I knew after I woke up that it was like, oh, that's what it is. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an amazing thing.
Oh, my. Oh, we're just getting started here. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour here. And then we'll be right back here with some more stuff to talk about. But, this is fascinating stuff. So we're going to be right back with Susan Masino after this on Spaced Out Sunday.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Resnick, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thorne. I have to tell you, I love the response I get from Little Brother Is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother Is Watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckford, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docu-series featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and strange humanoids. Truth seekers Stephen Bassett, Jeff Meldrum, Jack Kasher, and Stanton Friedman, among others, all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. For more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get bumblefucked?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sunday, everyone, and we are here with Susan Masino. And boy, we haven't even got into the rock and roll history yet. Holy mackerel! What now? How did you start getting in so tight with some of these major rock groups and rock stars that you become a historian about? Tell us about how you kind of were thrown into that field as well.
Well, as I said, I kind of grew up in the business with my parents being venue owners. And I love the gypsy-like life of a musician. We got to know families and, people that would come back and play, and I just loved that. And tried to learn some instruments as I grew up, and I had horrible stage fright. Oh my God. I could not do anything in front of an audience. So I kind of gave that up, and I've always, loved music, though. Back in the early 70s when I was still in high school, the Coliseum in Madison, Wisconsin had I saw, the Who, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, all the great bands, Cream, all of them. And I just ended up getting to know a couple of guys in Madison that had a music paper once a month. It was just about music, very small operation. And I started hanging out with these people and realized that, you didn't have to be a musician to be part of the music business. So I started to write for this paper, which led to a bigger paper. And at the time, it was the 77 through 79 that all these bands were coming up, AC/DC and, Van Halen, people like that. And back in the day, as they say now, print was very big. You had TV, you had radio, and you had print. That was it. There was no internet. There was no computers, no cell phones. And so we got everything. We came out every 2 weeks. We were 11 by 17, full color cover. And we covered, we got interviews, photo passes, cover pictures for the paper. And I was just in the right place at the right time.
Oh my, Susan. What a story that, I love those stories. At that exact same time that you were there doing that, 77 through 79 or those kinds of things, I literally was the host in the green room backstage at Universal Studios Amphitheater in Hollywood.
Oh my gosh.
With all the same guys. The same groups would come through. And I was the kid from, I was 26, 27. I was the kid from little old Edmonds, Washington. It was in the right place at the right time, because I started out as a tour guide. Actually, my first corporate position out of college was Shaker the Country Bear at Disneyland. That's I literally...
You got to start somewhere.
That's right. After college, my brother and myself decided we're going to Hollywood, be famous like everybody else. He ended up being Arnold Schwarzenegger's costumer for his films for many, many years. And I was doing, open mic nights, singing and all that kind of stuff. But Literally, yeah, hanging out with these folks that you find out real quickly. These guys are pretty much normal, but having to deal with fame and glory, and you had no idea that these guys are dealing with. I mean, they know, for instance, where they're going to be 5 years from now, where they're booked, that kind of thing. And if they're sick, if they miss a gig, a lot of other people are depending on them, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Hundreds, well, as far as like AC/DC goes. When I met them, they played for $3 to about 75 people. Nobody knew who they were.
Oh, my.
They were traveling around in a station wagon with a 3-man crew driving a 26-foot rider truck.
Oh, you got to tell us where that happened and tell us a little bit about that story. I love it.
Well, it's funny because it was the day that Elvis died.
Oh.
On August 16th, 1977. And I was driving past the paper. I had only gotten a few assignments. I wasn't, getting a lot because I was a girl, basically. And there weren't girls doing that. And so I'm driving down the street that the office on, and my voice, whoever he or she is, I wish I had a name, but this voice says, "You need to pull in and get an assignment." And I'm like, yeah, they don't want to give me assignments. They're like, "You need to pull in and ask for one right now." And so I pulled the car over and I walked in, and this guy is so funny. His name is Gary Summers. Hey, Gary, if you're listening at all. He's on Antiques Roadshow now.
Oh.
He does memorabilia like posters and all kinds of rock stuff. Very cool. But he had just gotten off the phone with this promoter out of Milwaukee, Stardate. And he looked at me and I asked him, hey, just stop, to see if there's anything I could help out with. And he says, yeah, I just got off the phone with this promoter in Milwaukee. They got a band coming in tonight at Stone Hearth, and they could use a gopher, somebody to help out, and, no pay, but you'd probably get a friend in for free. And, of course, I jumped at it, because I wanted to do anything to get my foot in the door. So as I'm running out to go home and get changed, I turned around and I said, and I knew a lot of bands by then. I'd seen a lot of bands. And I said, who's the band? And he said, I don't know, some band out of Australia called AC/DC. And I went, huh, okay. And I went to the club at 4 o'clock, and I got sent out to buy Blue Nun wine for the singer. And I fixed up their little deli trays for them and everything. And the funniest thing, because they had a one-page promo sheet, that was it. That was their press kit. And they weren't that good looking. I mean, they looked kind of nasty, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And they did. They looked a little scary. And it said that they had done the United Kingdom already. They had toured there. And it said they started brawls from one end of England to the other. And I just thought, oh, great, good choice, right?
Yeah.
And so as I'm getting ready, and I made friends with the roadies, and the band was out to dinner, and about an hour or so goes by, and the band shows up. And I'm walking out of the dressing room backwards, telling them, drinks are over there, snacks are over there, I'll be downstairs, need anything, come and get me. Really wanted to leave. So I'm backing out. And this guy comes in with this shaggy dark hair, and he's got tats up and down his arms, and he just looks right in my face and screams, "Sit!" It's like, I grabbed a chair. There's more of them than there were of me, so I grabbed a chair and I sat down. And he walked across the room, and he poured two glasses of Blue Nun wine, walked over, handed one to me, and said, "Hi, I'm Bon Scott. You must be Sue." And we just started. Yeah, I didn't know how they knew me, and then Malcolm, I didn't know it was Malcolm at the time, but he giggled and he said, "Oh, the promoter told us about you. You're supposed to do anything we want." And I'm like, oh, great, no, no, but it was fun. I mean, they started to tease me. I started to give some of it back to them. It took me a while to learn their slang.
Yeah.
They're talking about a bum. They're not talking about a guy out on the street.
Yeah, yeah.
That sort of thing. So
Yeah, the Australian whole lingo going on, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they were picking on me a lot.
Well, I'll bet, Sue, that you had that ability to make those guys feel at home a little bit, having kind of like someone to talk to, because of your upbringing with your parents and the ballroom and the, you know, almost like musicians on the road. They really don't have family anymore, and when they come across normal folks like yourself, they really kind of, you know, enjoy that. I think sometimes.
Well, they liked me. As a matter of fact, the roadie, Barry Taylor, God bless him, he became a reverend. He's written some great books. And he took my name and address and said, I'll keep in touch. And, you know how that goes. I'm just like, yeah, okay, sure. And we ended up being pen pals, literally. And he wrote and called me every week for the next 3 years.
Oh, my.
So I hung out with AC/DC every chance I got.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh. And what's so funny, and some people don't believe this story, but the band will, you know, they can confirm that it's true. After they played, and I saw them, and they were like the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life, basically. I was just crazy for them. And at the end of the night, everybody wanted to meet the band, you know, so of course they met everybody, gave autographs, whole thing. And then I waited till they were all gone so I could talk to the band alone. And the first thing I said to Bon is like, wow, I said, man, you blew my socks off. And he looked at me and he's like, I did what? And I was, you know, I'm like, oh okay, that you guys are amazing. And so I just started telling them how amazing they were. And I said this, and, you know, I am a psychic empath. I don't advertise that much, but I am a bit of a psychic. And I said to them, I was so excited for them, and I said, you guys, I said, it's going to be a couple of years, 2-3 years from now. Someday, you guys are going to be as big as the Rolling Stones. And they just died laughing. Oh, my God. They laughed so hard that Angus, sweet little guy, he's sitting on the couch. He pulls up his leg, rips off his tennis shoe, and sticks his foot in my face. And he says, oh, does that mean I can buy me some new socks?
So you got to tell me, did Angus do the short pant thing and the bobby socks that he always wears even back then?
Oh, yeah. No, he started that way back in the beginning. And, you know, they did, in the beginning of AC/DC, though, they did go through a thing where, you know, it was the early 70s, and you had the New York Dolls and, you know, all the David Bowie. So they all did uniforms, costumes, you know, like Malcolm was a pilot one time, and Angus was like Super Ang with like Superman with an A on his t-shirt, and I think he got stuck in a phone booth or something, so that didn't work out. And they finally gave it up. They were like going back to t-shirts and jeans, but the schoolboy thing was kind of a, you know, made him memorable, you know, and Angus was so little at the time that they used to say that he wasn't old enough to be in the bar.
Yeah.
So they really promoted the fact that he was way too young to do what he was doing, even though he's just a little bit older than me.
Oh, my.
But he's, yeah. And what's funny is now we've had a running joke for 43 years about them being they're the only band in history that has ever co-headlined with the Rolling Stones.
Oh, man.
So, there you go.
And your prophecy came true, obviously.
It did.
And this schoolboy look with the backpack, you know, the book pack, and the socks that roll down, and the tennis shoes and stuff like that. Do you know the story behind that?
Oh, yeah. They had to wear uniforms to school. So when he'd come home, he would grab his guitar and go right to a band rehearsal in his uniform. So he started doing that just because he didn't feel like changing clothes. But then when they, you know, were messing around with different costumes and they didn't know which way to go, their sister was the only sister of all 8 kids' oldest. Very great influence on the brothers. And she suggested Angus, you know, stick with the schoolboy uniform. And she started actually making him his first uniforms. because it was a novelty that no one else was doing at the time. And
yeah. I mean, I have never seen anybody even imitate Angus in that regard. He's the only guy that wears short pants on stage, and he's so like you said, so small and energetic himself. It's just crazy, How did the brothers just feel about Angus finally kind of sometimes he'll steal the show?
Oh, there's they have the best quotes, the whole band. I could write a book on their best quotes, and one of them is Malcolm's, and he's asked about Angus being the focal point of the band, and how does he feel about that, how does he feel about being in the background, and Malcolm just shot off. He's like, "He made more money than me, it would bother me."
There you go.
That was
oh, that's
very Malcolm.
That's fascinating. So you were the seamstress with the band, to make a rock and roll, pun kind of a thing. Did they come through each time and look you up, or how did you follow them? How does that work?
Well, Barry, kept in touch with me from the road, and they, when they left Wisconsin in August, they came back. Actually, I think they did a little bit of a European tour, and then they came back to the States in December, and that's when I did a full interview with all 5 of the band members, which is kind of historical now.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the few interviews done with all 5 band members.
Yeah.
And that was just mayhem. They were horrible to me.
Did you have your old Wallensack tape recorder with you at the time, or what? What kind of an interview was it?
My little Panasonic, about this big, it was not that small, but I had a briefcase, that I had the paper and my notepad and my pen and my little Panasonic with my little cassette tape. And that we went upstairs to the place they played, an electric ballroom, and they were all in the same room with me, a little living room out there, and the tape recorder was stuck between my leg and Bon Scott's. And that's how we did the interview.
Oh man, Susan, this is awesome stuff. You and I have some great stories to share, I'm sure, from our experiences that literally looks like happened about the same time. I was there at the amphitheater through 1982 as the backstage host to the stars, they call me, and exactly doing all of that stuff, hanging out with the Rat Pack, Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and all those guys. And then, of course, the craziest guys I ever dealt with back in those days were like groups like the Marshall Tucker Band. Literally, these guys, I got to tell you my quick story, is that, I was the guy that the studio had to have in the premises for insurance purposes. That's basically what my job was, is to be there so they had a representative to try to keep the lid on things, after the show and the big parties. Literally 75 people, wall to wall, stars in the green room, and then the patio that went out and looked over the San Fernando Valley. You can see the Hollywood sign on the other end of the valley. But normally, no one would be allowed in the green room before the show because the band was getting ready and all that kind of stuff. And they came in, Marshall Tucker Band, and announced that I had to leave. No one was going to be in the green room because they took over the green room and literally put all their equipment, all their practice stuff in there, and they just did nothing but jam for hours on end before their own show. And of course, the amphitheater went nuts for insurance purposes, and they said, you got to have our guy in there. He'll do whatever you want to do. Just we have to do that. So here I am stuck in a room, in a green room, with the Marshall Tucker Band that are chugging like whiskey, like it's going out of style. And these guys are doing nothing but just playing rock and roll, Southern rock music for hours on end before the show even started. And that went on for an entire week of, the run of shows was like from Saturday to to Friday night.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I would love that.
So we got stories to talk about, you and I'm sure. But oh my! So with this in mind, I'm sure then you got the in with other groups, and that's how you got on the inside track.
Yeah, well, after I had met AC/DC, okay, this is in August, and then I saw him again in December. And then in early 78, everybody got albums back in those days. And we got this red vinyl album with 4 songs on it from a band out of California with 2 brothers that were called Van Halen. And we're like, well, what's this? So I believe the first cut was Eruption.
Whoa.
And we put that on the turntable, and it was like, I've said this many times. Hearing Van Halen for the first time, was like putting on rose-colored glasses. The world wasn't the same tint anymore.
Oh, good analogy. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
And I helped book them into a club in Madison.
Did you?
Because they were playing with Montrose and Journey, first tour, and they were supposed to play the Orpheum Theater March of 78, and the Orpheum decided to bump them off. They didn't want to deal with 3 bands. So I handled the record labels by then for the newspaper I was working for, and I did all the tickets, photo passes, interviews, all that. And my editor was like, call Warner Brothers and get them booked into a club, for God's sake. They can't sit and not do anything while they're here. And so I did. I gave them 2 phone numbers, and they ended up playing at the Shuffle Inn. And they stayed across the highway a bit at the Sheraton Hotel on the 7th floor. And their second album is dedicated to the 7th floor on the Sheraton Hotel in Madison because they pretty much destroyed it.
Oh, my. Yeah, yeah. And, of course, you were responsible for that.
Some of it, yeah. I was a little bit.
Getting them in there. Oh, those are great stories. Great story. It's amazing to me, Susan, that a lot of these guys are still alive. Given the fact that you and I had seen their lifestyle and what they were doing, it's like, how did they even survive that more than a few years? And some of them are still going strong.
Oh, no, I know. I still don't know how Angus, when I saw him at Wrigley Field in 2015, and he always goes up on the podium for Let There Be Rock right at the end of the show before their encores. And the next day I was hanging with him at we met up at the hotel because I had my book AC/DC, the FAQ book, to give him. So I had a big stack for everybody. And Angus, stopped his shopping trip and hooked up with me and my girlfriends for a little bit. He was so sweet. But the funniest thing is I was so sincere, and I said to him, I said, Angus, I said last night, I said, really amazing. I said, your solo in Let There Be Rock literally brought tears to my eyes. And he just looked at me and went, yeah, they brought some to mine too. Because that's when he throws himself down on his back.
Yeah.
And twirls around.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's this guy, I don't know how much water his body goes through in a concert, but the guy is just, he must be totally dehydrated after the concert,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been known that he can lose up to 5 pounds per show. And they have oxygen for him as soon as he gets off stage.
Oh, I'll bet. And he's the kind of guy, like you said, he's 100 and something pounds maybe, and he can't afford to lose 5 pounds that quick.
I know, and the energy is unbelievable. It wears me out just watching him.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, let's do this. Let's. Oh my God, I'm going to take a break now here for our commercials. But when we come back, I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to know how to get your materials so they can read the first-hand accounts as well. Okay.
Okay, great.
Hang on. We're going to be right back after this as soon as I can get to my commercial breakism here. There we are. We'll be right back after this, folks, on Spaced Out Sunday.
Hey, Space Travelers. This is John Resnick, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I'm bringing you the Woo every Monday through Friday on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going all out to bring you the strangest, oddest stories and subjects I could find for your entertainment. Why? Because when we hit peak Woo, I know I've done my job. So come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, and together, my friends, we own the night.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblelicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune into SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hi, This is Amber Becker, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Well, welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Sunday. I'm your host, Michael W. Hall. Thanks for being with us tonight. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and on the digital side, we are also on Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can always check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us all a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and catching up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. So we are back with Susan Masino, and oh my, we have got to, Susan, give everybody the opportunity now to know where they can find your written materials, your books, and the titles to them and all that stuff. Why don't you give us some info?
Okay, all my books are available on Amazon. You can also reach me at susanmasino.com. I have 6 books: Rock and Roll Fantasy, My Life and Times with AC/DC, Van Halen, and Kiss. Famous Wisconsin Musicians, where Les Paul wrote the foreword for me.
Oh my!
Another friend, and a Wisconsin boy.
Is that right? I never knew.
Yes,
Les Paul.
and then I did the story of AC/DC Let There Be Rock back in 2006, and now it just came out in September. It's been updated to the end of 2019. That one's was originally in 11 languages. And then I did a book about the Hank Williams family.
Oh my!
Called Family Tradition: 3 Generations of Hank Williams. And then I did I self-published a book called The Secrets of the Universe: Universal Laws, Past Lives, Ghost Adventures, and More. And then I did the AC/DC FAQ book, and now I have just updated the Let There Be Rock book. So,
boy, you are prolific.
Well, it's been taking me a while, about 2 decades, to get that much.
As a matter of fact, how do you? I've got a few novels myself up on Amazon that I've written, and I know what it takes to get close to 100,000 words or whatever into a coherent book. What's your style for writing? Do you have like a certain time in the morning, and do you kind of do it on a schedule? How do you actually do your writing?
Well, if I'm doing a biography, which I've done a lot of, I usually spend a couple of months on research alone, where I read everything I can get my hands on, find as much information as I can, and then I'm very methodical, so I have to start, right at the beginning of the story. And I, my big thing is if you can figure out how you're going to open the book and finish the book. They'd just fill in the middle. And luckily, like for Rock and Roll Fantasy and for Let There Be Rock, the story of AC/DC, I had journals, calendars, date books, diaries. I knew, we all knew what we were seeing at the time. And we used to tease each other about who was going to be the first one to write a book.
Good for you. Oh, my goodness. That's like Mary Shelley and Frankenstein. Do you know that story?
I know she had that for a long time, didn't she? Or...
Yeah. There was a challenge that her husband, the famous poet Shelley, and his buddies were kind of like hanging out in the Swiss Alps one summer, and they were all bored. And someone suggested that they just write a ghost story, all of them. Each of them should do the challenge of a ghost story. She was the only one who actually did it and published it, and it became like, back then, a woman being an author was not a big deal, was nothing that they wouldn't even allow. So her husband kind of initially got it published because they were leading people on that it was his book, just to get it out there. But oh, that's funny. So you had the same thing going on as Mary Shelley. It's like, okay, we're all going to write a book one day, and you end up being the first one, just like they did.
Yes, and my editor, mentor, good friend died while writing a book. He had complications with diabetes and things, and he died at 42 in 1991.
Wow.
And that's another reason why I was like, oh my God, if I don't write these stories, no one's ever going to know about them.
Yeah.
So that really gave me another incentive to do it and to get it in paper.
And obviously you were aware that this was important stuff and kept some kind of a diary also? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. I always kept date books, journals, and I had the papers, and I had, date books. And even, I've never gone back, but I even wrote down, every time Barry would call me from the road and what country he was in and things like that. But I'm very, when I write, I just write from memory. I write what I saw, what I heard. And I've always, I feel like I'm kind of an alien because as a kid, I've always been kind of like a video recorder in my head. I watch people and I remember, what they did, what they said, what they looked like. That's really weird.
Yeah. So it sounds to me that you're more of a visual learner than, somebody that had to read it from a book or something like that. You have that memory with the visual things that you experience, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I started, my first book, I actually didn't write Rock and Roll Fantasy until I turned 40. And that was a big deal. It was like, you've been talking about this for how many years now? Write a book. And that's what started it. But I started, and now I usually do, I write very late, between 10 and 3 in the morning. Because back when my son was a baby, I'd wait till he went to bed at night, and then I would write during the late hours, which is always, it's better for me. I can tune in easier.
Yeah, to get into that that zone that writers kind of get into. And obviously that still syncs up with life on the road as well, is that sometimes that's the only quiet time that you've got is after midnight, The show's over with, things are winding down, and you just can't get to bed. It's almost like, you're hyped up, you're doing the performance, and it's very difficult to cut that off and go to bed.
Oh, it takes hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely takes, especially for performers, that get out there and they do 2.5 hours on the stage. And with AC/DC, there's never even any breaks in between songs.
Yeah.
Where they walk around and kind of, take a drink and take a breath. Not at all. So Angus always says it takes him 3 to 6 hours to actually come down once he gets off stage.
Oh, I'll bet. Especially him. Oh, my goodness. Have you talked with any of your friends in the business, in rock and roll, about their paranormal experiences, or have they had any?
I've had a lot of people, I tend to get letters from people, especially about AC/DC. It's kind of, I'm known as the AC/DC lady which is kind of cool. But I get questions all the time, and I notice, like, especially with Bon, because I've had it happen to myself, but if you really love Bon a lot, and I believe because he's on the other side, he knows who really loves him and who really cared for him, and he will visit you. You know, and I get all kinds of letters like that. Like, he came to me in a dream, I saw him here, I saw him there. Really cool story real quick about this guy that down in Australia, before Bon's gravesite had like a gate and a path and a bench and all these official things. It wasn't marked very well, and this fan, he gave me some great interviews. He became friends with the band himself, so he knows the band many, many years. His name is Darren, and years ago, before Bon Scott's grave was really, a big deal to the public, he was walking through this hot cemetery in the middle of the day, couldn't find it anywhere, and all of a sudden he comes across a beekeeper. And the guy is like dressed like a beekeeper. He's covered in netting. You can't see him at all. And Darren kind of said, I'm trying to find Bon Scott's grave. I mean, would you know? And the guy just pointed. And so he started walking, and he turned around to thank him, and the beekeeper was gone.
Oh, I love those kinds of stories. Oh,
I know. I do too.
And a beekeeper. I mean, that is just like out of the blue, kind of.
Well, he had to cover himself up,
Yeah.
But yeah, a beekeeper out of nowhere.
Oh, that's fascinating. I love that. So, and Van Halen, talk about some of the other interesting characters that you worked with.
Oh, well, Van Halen would have to be up there on the list because they were there at the Sheridan for 3 nights. I missed the first night. The cops were there so often that they had to keep a car in the parking lot. So the second night, when I saw them play at the club, I went back to the hotel because they were having a party like they did all 3 nights they were there. But the second night, while we were hanging out waiting for the roadies to come back to the club come back to the hotel with more beer from the club, because it was after hours now. And Alex he was a bit of a wild man, I have to say. And so he grabs my hand and he says, let's go downstairs to the lobby and see where the guys are, see if they're here. Okay. So I follow him down the hall. We get into the elevator. As soon as he gets in the elevator, he hits an emergency button on every door, every floor. And I'm like, okay, this is not it's not the idea, I know. And so then he stops the elevator, and he tells me to hold the door open, and he gets out in the hallway. And he turns around and he says, I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind. And I'm like, no, please don't. I'm thinking, oh boy, this is not a great decision on my part. And he positions his head between the doors. And then he says, let the button go. And I'm like, I'm not going to let the button go. What are you, crazy? And he goes, let the button go. And I'm getting these visions of, rock journalist kills Van Halen drummer in freak elevator accident.
Yeah.
And he was so insistent, and finally I said, fine, okay. And I let my finger off the door, and the doors closed on his head and bounced back open. And he thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever done in his entire life. And so he's laughing his head off, and I'm like, okay, I'm not funny. And he liked to pick me up a lot. And he picked me up, and he threw me out in the hallway like football. And he said, now you're going to do it. And then there was a bit of a standoff because I'm thinking, could I outrun him? No, I'm not going to outrun him. And so we argued for a little bit. And then, fine. I said, fine. And so I let him close the doors on my head. I did.
Oh, man, that has got to be in a scene in a movie. Definitely.
Oh, it is.
I can see that.
It's got to be. Because I tell people this all the time, do not do this.
Yeah, really.
It can be a fatal accident. It's very dangerous. And the funniest thing, though, Alex laughed so hard, he had tears coming down his cheeks. And I said to him, he's sitting on the floor now in the elevator, can't stop laughing. And I said, what is so funny about all of this? And he goes, you don't get it. He goes, nobody will do this with me. Nobody in the band, nobody on the crew, no fans, nobody. He said, "You're the first."
Oh, my.
And that story got me flown to L.A. in 2003. That's how I ended up in the Van Halen Early Years DVD.
Yeah.
And it continues to this day. I was just interviewed again after Eddie passed.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
What was that like to be in a Van Halen music video DVD? Tell us about that.
Oh, for me, at first, I mean, it's horrible because I treated the guy like some stalker killer guy. You know, he's like, if I flew you to LA, would you do this DVD for us? We're doing something on Van Halen. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's a kid in his living room with a video camera. And he wants me to fly to LA, and I don't think so, you know? So I totally treated him really awful until he gave me his credentials. He was actually a filmmaker. He had a real studio. And they flew me out there in 2003, and it was hot, and they had to turn all the air off because of the noise. So I'm literally like melting while I'm giving the interview. So it was stressful for me. It was.
Oh, man. Oh, this is great. These are great stories. You know, I would imagine that you don't often get a chance to express the details that you're doing tonight when you're on a show or an interview yourself. But is it therapeutic at all to be able to kind of talk about these good old days that you've gone through?
Oh, it keeps me happy. You know, when I feel like, oh, gee, I wish I was 30 or I wish I was 40, and you know, of course, Bond slaps me upside the head and he says, you know, if you were that age, you never would have met us. And if AC/DC, I mean, honestly, AC/DC changed my life the day I met them, and it hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's like you are living rock and roll history yourself. You're not just reporting on it, you're living rock and roll history.
Yes, I was there at quite a few things, actually.
Yeah. And my goodness, you don't even look that old, Susan, to be able to have those experiences. I was born in 1952, and I look it, I'm sure, but you're just still almost a young and spry person yourself, it sounds like.
Well, it's funny. I always say, you know, I always go back to a quote from Angus, because when he was 40, somebody asked him in an interview, you know, don't you think you're getting a little old to wear that schoolboy uniform? And he said, the name's Young. Always has been, always will be.
Good point.
And when we took pictures, the last picture I got with him was in Chicago back in 2015. We did it with my girlfriends and then just one of me and Angus. And at the time, we had known each other about 38 years, I guess. And right before they took the picture, I leaned over and I said, 38 years and we still look fabulous. He kind of had a little giggle he was trying to hide. But it's true. Rock and roll keeps you young.
Oh, I'll bet. I mean, if you can survive and have, you know, a good attitude, oh my word. I mean, the endorphins that you get as a musician like that must be amazing, night after night.
Oh, yeah. And just hearing their music at any time, or anyone like Van Halen, all these great bands, you know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Journey, you know, Ted Nugent. I worked for Cheap Trick for a while. All these guys, I mean, such fun music, you know, uplifting, and you just, you know, when I hear AC/DC, I go right back to 21.
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Yeah. Well, you know, that brings up another, I mean, one of my all-time heroes is Hank Williams. My gosh. I mean, you even have experience in that regard with, how did you get interested in, were you always into country music, or did all of a sudden you have an opportunity to do some research? How'd you get into Hank Williams?
Actually, the jukebox.
Oh.
I heard Hank Williams as a kid, and my grandmother loved him, and she had his greatest hits album. And she would play it back to back like twice in a row. So I fell in love with this music. I mean, how can you not? But when I was about 8 years old, my dad took us to the theater to see Your Cheatin' Heart with Hank Williams.
Oh, my.
Now I didn't know that Hank was dead. I didn't know that Hank had died at 29 years old. I didn't know any of this. All I know is I'm a little kid and I'm in love with Hank Williams. And I see that he dies in the movie, and I see how much his wife, Audrey Williams, had a lot to do with his success. So years later, I'm working, I did the AC/DC book, and then a publisher is interested in me, Hal Leonard Publishing. I'm working with a new editor, and we're bouncing ideas. And a friend, I'm going to say shout out to Mickey, because one night at dinner, he said, "Why don't you write a book on Hank Williams III?" And I said, "What do you mean? There's a third?" And he goes, "You don't know?" So I discovered Hank Williams III, and I realized I can't write a book about one. There's no way you can write about one and not all three of them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I did my job, and I gave Audrey her due, because Audrey was the Sharon Osbourne of her time.
Oh.
She definitely was. She inspired every hit song Hank ever wrote, basically. And she was never treated kindly. She was always, the B word and the pushy and, and all. And no, she was a mastermind at what she did for Hank. So I cracked down. I ended up spending 2 days with Hank III down in Nashville. We did 9 hours of recorded interviews. And when I told him, I said, when I left that theater that night, I said, I wanted to grow up and be your mom or your grandma, Audrey Shepard. And he laughed and he goes, "I ain't ever heard nobody say that before."
Oh, boy, I bet that endeared you to him for sure.
Well, it did to a lot of people, because I was invited to the Country Music Hall of Fame to do a book signing for that book.
Oh, wonderful.
So.
Oh, wonderful.
Quite the honor.
Honor. Have you ever been to the Ryman Auditorium, Grand Ole Opry?
Yes, I've been to the old one. I've been outside the new one, but I was there for research in 2009. And Saturday night they had a show, and everybody was leaving. And my sister grabbed my sister, and I said, "We're going in." And I went right up to the stage, and it shocked me how small it was.
Yeah.
Compared to what I thought in my mind what it looked like, right?
Right.
I just put my hands flat on the boards on the stage and just rubbed my hands against the wood, and I was like, "Hank used to stand here, oh my God."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love his music. I'm a huge Hank fan.
The songs, the lyrics were just killer. Just heart-wrenching lyrics. And his voice was so pure country, with that high, lonesome twang kind of thing,
Oh, yeah. His writing, he got a Pulitzer Prize in 2010.
I didn't know.
A posthumous Pulitzer Prize, and I kept stalling the book. I don't know why, but I kept putting off ending it in, and then he got the Pulitzer Prize, so I got that in the book.
Oh.
I was so happy about that. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was very psychic. Hank was very psychic, actually.
Is that right?
Yes. He knew he was going to die. When he left for that trip, he told his cousin, he said, "This is my last Christmas,
Oh, my. Isn't that something? Being a psychic or an intuitive yourself, you can relate to that, it sounds like.
Oh, and again, his writing, there'll never be anyone like Hank Williams, ever.
Yeah.
And here's a little quick side story. My parents owned a restaurant in Lodi, 1965. Ernest Tubb plays the local fair, comes to my mom's restaurant, and my first celebrity autograph was from Ernest Tubb, who happened to be Hank's mentor.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating.
That?
Yeah. Oh, on that we got to take a break. We got one last segment to go, but this has just been a wonderful night. Hang on, we're going to be right back after this, folks, and we will get caught up with one more segment when we come back from Spaced Out Sunday.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. For more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Are you addicted to the woo? Good. Me too. This is Dave Scott, and you can woo it up with me every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, for 3 hours of great entertainment in the subjects you love. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, intuition. Yes, we hit it all 5 days a week. Look for us at spacedoutradio.com. We're together, my friends. We own the night.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resnick, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckford, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
And we are back with Susan Masino. Oh boy, you know, Susan, at this time during the show, we only have one small segment left. I always like to ask, is there anything that we have not talked about that you would like us to bring up so we can, talk about something that maybe you don't get a chance to very often, or a new project you're working on, anything like that?
Well, I am hoping at some point to get my book Rock and Roll Fantasy made into a movie or a documentary, because it covers a lot of great bands, so that's kind of a thing that I've always been working on.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually working on a book. I don't know how long it's going to take me, because I have about 1 billion stories, and it's called Stories to Tell. And right now I'm only 8 years old in the book, so it could be a couple volumes.
Oh, wow. Stories to Tell.
Yeah, I have a lot of them.
Or rock and roll bedtime stories or something. That would be awesome. And you know what you should do? I don't know if you've ever written a screenplay or anything like that. But if you just put down certain things on 3x5 cards, tack them up on the wall, you move them around for scene by scene. Because just the way you've explained it to me, some of these scenes are precious. You just got to put them on a 3x5 card and put them up on the wall somewhere.
Storyboard it. No, my son is in film. He lives in New York now, and he was just giving me the what for the other day on the phone about he wants me to storyboard out a different movie that I've written.
Yeah.
But altogether, I literally have 12 movies, and I have not learned how to do a script, but I can do storyboards of the scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's so many, especially the funny thing about Rock and Roll Fantasy is that it's all true. Like, I didn't make up anything or exaggerate anything to make it crazy. It was crazy by itself.
Oh, heck yeah. If anything, you're probably toning it down so you can get to a general audience,
I try, but not that much.
Yeah. Oh, my word. Just that Hank Williams information you gave us, at the break is still living rent free in my brain right now. I just enjoy. I mean, I'm so lonesome I could cry. I mean, just the lyrics to that song.
My favorite top 5 songs in the world. That's one of them.
Yeah, it's so simple. The lyrics and the tune. Do you know the story behind that? Was that his wife again that kind of inspired him not being able to be with her during that period of time, or what?
Well, it might have been, but he was always a little bit on the melancholy side, just his personality. And he said to many people he never liked when the sun went down. At the end of the day, he used to say that was the loneliest time of the day.
Oh.
And so he, I'm not sure if that came directly from missing her, but so many of the songs that he wrote about her, but that one, I think that really went deep, because his dad, he never grew up with his dad. His dad was in hospital most of his life, and he was born with spina bifida. So he actually had back pain. The first song he wrote in grade school was called Backache Blues. So, but he was very goofy though. I really had a great chance to find out a lot about the guys that played with him. And even though he was very serious and could be very melancholy, he nicknamed everybody. Everybody had to have a nickname. And he would always make jokes, and he would do it on stage. But my favorite thing that he used to do with, they called him Little Tater, and he just passed away like in the last couple years, and his name is escaping me at this point, but he used to open for Hank. And of course, they would come for Hank, but it would be a full crowd, and so he'd always come up and peek out of the curtain with little Jimmy Dickens.
There you go.
Got it. Thanks, Hank. He would always come out before Jimmy went on, and he would peek through the curtains, and he'd go, "Oh, look, Tater, look how many people you brought in for me tonight." And I just love that about him. He was a lot funnier than people ever gave him credit for.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very funny. He was a sweet person, very sweet man.
And you would imagine then his son and his grandson, of course, would have a tough act to follow their whole life, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, Audrey put Hank Jr. out on stage at 8 years old. His dad died when he was 3. And he was on stage singing his dad's songs at the age of 8.
Oh, my.
And he did that till he was 18. Then he fired his mother, and he started playing, he was really a forerunner in the Southern rock sound.
Yeah.
And that's what he was going for when he fell off a mountain and almost died.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know that story, how he got injured so badly? I don't know the details of that story.
Well, when I write things, as I said, I have to be there. I have to put myself exactly where I am and what's happening to describe it to people. And I had nightmares writing about that accident. It took me a couple weeks to, because it's very convoluted on how many things happened. But I had a lady write me a letter that said that part of the book gave her nightmares. I'm like, well, but he was up, visiting a friend and his son, and they went on walks all the time across the hills and stuff, and I think it was between Montana and it was by the Continental Divide, or wherever that is. I can't think of right off the bat, but he was up there on vacation, and he and his friend and his son were walking across the snowfield. Okay. The father said, "I'm going to go first, and then you go in my footsteps." So he crossed the field, and then his son crossed the field, and then Hank got halfway through the field, and all of a sudden the dirt underneath him started to give way. And he fell 500 feet. He said that he was aware of him falling, and he actually tried to kick away from the mountain, but when he hit the ground, he slammed his head right into a boulder. So his head was split open. One of his eyes was hanging out.
Oh my!
He was a real mess, and the father and the son got down to him. And the saddest thing, it was horribly sad, but the 11-year-old had to sit with Hank while the father went and got help. So he had to sit with Hank and he said, "Don't let him go to sleep, keep him talking." So the 11-year-old is keeping him talking, and what happened with the dad is the dad goes down the hill, gets in the Jeep. He's so freaked out that he totals the Jeep on the way to get help. Out of the blue, a forest ranger drives by. He'd never seen one there, ever.
Wow.
So they call in a helicopter. The helicopter can't get to Hank. It's really hard because it's so rocky, so it's hard to get to him. They medevaced him, to the hospital, and I think it was more than one. I think there were a couple surgeons that on a Saturday afternoon were ex-Vietnam vet surgeons, and they just happened to be in the hospital that day.
Man.
And he lived through that.
I mean, and I think that at that point is when he kind of started going to the facial hair and that kind of thing to kind of cover up some of his wounds and stuff. But thank God it never really affected his voice. What a great voice he still has.
Oh, I know. And the fact that he could play again, because he thought for sure he would never play an instrument again. And it was, and what's so weird is that Hank Sr.'s dad left at 3 when he was 3. And Hank Jr., he had the accident when Hank 3 was only 3.
Oh, my.
So they all lost their dads at the age of 3, and they all 3 grew up without a father.
Isn't that weird? It's
very strange.
It's like a rock and roll curse somehow, that you hear about every once in a while.
It's scary because Hank Jr., when I was writing the book, his 2 daughters, Holly and Hillary, were in a car accident, and Hillary died twice on the operating table.
Wow.
She survived. She wrote a book about it, and I was able to get that into my book, too, because I knew her book was coming out. But, just tragic. Tragic is not even the word for it. Hank just lost his younger daughter, Katie, about 4 months ago in a car accident.
Oh, my word.
So, yeah. He, and she had 2 little kids, and they were just together for a funeral, actually, for an aunt on, I know Lucretia, Hank's stepdaughter. So they were all there at the same time because it was her side of the family. But Katie was driving and crossed the center lane, the car flipped, and she was gone. Just like that.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Well, you've lived through a whole lot of history, not just in rock and roll, in the music industry itself. This is remarkable. When you look back on your life and what you've experienced, how does it make you feel?
I think I did pretty good, I always make a joke that I chose to be a writer, which I chose to be poor. Because if I would have married one of the rock stars that tried to marry me when, I would have a great divorce settlement by now,
Of course. Yeah.
So I chose to take the hard road, and I wouldn't trade it for the world because it's been a blast. I've gotten flown to Italy because of my AC/DC book. I got flown to Serbia for my AC/DC book. I'm going to be in another Van Halen DVD coming out. I was just lucky to be there at the right time.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and you are recording history for these folks that, I don't know if you feel the same way, but these people, like we mentioned before, are just normal people caught up in a unique situation themselves, these musicians, but most of them don't have any time or effort or ability to record what's happening to them. Someone else has to do it, like you.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's kind of crazy that way, because when I did the FAQ book, it's kind of like a AC/DC dictionary. And again, they all have the best quotes. And I gave one to Brian in Chicago at the hotel that day, Brian Johnson. And he always, when he gets one of my books, he always looks at all the pictures. That's the first thing he does. But as he's looking through it, he goes, "Oh, this looks kind of like a dictionary kind of book." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's over 100,000 words, so enjoy." And then he goes, "Oh, so I'm going to find out stuff about myself I don't know." And I said, exactly. There it is, right for you, in the book.
That's right. Oh, my. And obviously they appreciate what you do for them.
I think they do, because there's things I could have written about that I never will.
Right.
Because they're my friends first, And I've gotten slammed, not only for being a woman, but she'll never say anything bad about the band. Well, if I find something, I would, but I love those guys. And I'm not going to make any apologies for it. I think they're not. I've known a lot of bands, and certain, they get to a certain point, and then they're like, yeah, we don't really remember you. That was so long ago. And then with, people like AC/DC, that could easily be that way. And we'll start cracking jokes from the Stone Hearth back in '77. That's how they are.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you've really endeared yourself to them, it sounds like, and endeared yourself to a time in history that needs to be recorded and kept for, these young kids nowadays. They have no idea what rock and roll really was like, what the music industry was like, back in those days. I'm sure, do you have a semi-young audience that picks this up as well, or is it just baby boomers that are your target audience?
I actually have a lot of both, plenty of baby boomers, of course. But the fun thing, and I always say this about an AC/DC concert, you can go to an AC/DC concert and you're going to have from 6 to 60. And they're all singing along to the lyrics. And that happens every single time I see the band. So it's really, they keep generating fans, no matter what they do.
Isn't that something? You're right. It's like a broad range. Their music is a broad range of people that enjoy that, even if you're young. You're right.
But yeah, and their lyrics are silly. They're about girls, they're about cars, fun stuff. And and it's always, I hate to say it, but it's always England. They're very picky over there. And I had somebody review my book, and he said, well, one thing that really bothers me about her is that she didn't call them out for their lyrics, on how they treat women, in their lyrics. And honestly, if they were a bunch of, pigs, I would have said something. But they're not anything like their lyrics at all. I mean, maybe Bon Scott was. I have to say, Bon did live a lot of those lyrics. But they're not like that about women at all.
Yeah.
They never have been. They're so incredibly respectful that it's almost funny.
Yeah.
To me,
I have experienced that myself as well, where the people's public persona is nowhere near their real personality when you get to know them and stuff. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite examples is Michael Jackson. My goodness, I was, a host, I was a gopher, glorified gopher. But at a Sinatra concert, there were so many celebrities that would come after the show, for the big party and stuff like that. I remember looking up from my little bar that I'm working at, because you get all free booze and everything like that. All the food is catered. And here's Michael Jackson sitting right here at the edge of my bar, talking to my wife at the time. And she's just starstruck talking to Michael Jackson and stuff. But he is so sweet and unassuming at that point. For an hour or more, he's just sitting there. And I kind of felt like I should say something to my wife. Don't monopolize this giant guy's time. And he just was eating it up. He enjoyed it. So those are the kinds of things that you can't pay money for, just to know what these people are like.
Oh yeah. And like I said, I was in the right place at the right time, and I've always been in love with music. So the fact that I figured out that I could write about it, and actually, I published the very first book, Rock and Roll Fantasy. I self-published as a CD-ROM.
Oh,
because
wow.
I didn't like getting rejected. That was extremely insulting to me. So Angus told me himself, because I let him read the first manuscript of Rock and Roll Fantasy, and he teased me. He said, "You need more dirt." And I said, "I'm not going to write dirt on you. You know better than that." But I kind of said, I'm trying to get it published, and he's like, "Well, publish it yourself. Put it out on the internet. Do it yourself." And so I did. And that got me a book deal, which led to another book deal, which, you know, the dominoes keep falling.
Yeah.
And, yeah, crazy.
Well, and it goes to show you that your writing style, your abilities are solid in that regard. If you get book deals out of a self-published book, they realize there's quality there.
Oh, I write like I talk.
Yeah.
And I like to explain. I want you to feel, and this is the biggest compliment I get, is when people write me a letter and they say, "Oh my God, I felt like I was there."
Yeah.
Like
Good.
it was so fun, and it for me, that's just the way I write. Is you have to, when you're reading it, you should feel like you're there, seeing it.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Because as an intuitive, you kind of go there and are able to firsthand give that account again. I'm sure that that's the way the best books are written. That's fantastic. You know what we need to do before we get out of here, we're almost done, is make sure that people know. Do you have a website? Do you have anything like that, social media that they can follow you on?
Oh yeah, I have SusanMasino.com. All my books are on Amazon, and I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So
Wonderful.
I'm easy to find.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's exciting stuff. Thank you, Susan, for such a wonderful interview tonight. This was just a real pleasure for me to sit back and just kind of put myself in your shoes, behind your eyes, and just listen to these stories from the rock and roll historian here, Susan Masino. Thank you,
Michael. And I think you and I kind of lived a little bit of a parallel life there. But I'm sure we got a lot more stories.
Oh, we're going to have to do it again for sure. So, listen,
I would love to.
Have yourself a wonderful week. If there's anything I can do for you on this end, you can always give me a call, shout out, and we will do this again for sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night now.
Bye-bye.
Was a man who had some land in East Washington. On his land, this man he had a deep dark hole upon. People came miles around, threw their trash down in to see how deep the hole was and listen for its end. Then way that fateful day they swam off his land. They paid him off and sent him down under with a plan. They hid Melville and covered it so never could be found. So no one will ever know what's deep down beneath the ground. Yippee-yi-yi.
I want to remind everyone that Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocky gets in and out of every single show. You can find out more information and music at bumblefoot.com. A special thanks to everyone listening at home tonight, in your cars, at work, and in the chat rooms, and wherever you are around the world. Remember, this show is currently copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio, SRO Adventures. Thanks for sharing your evening with us. Because together, my friends, we home tonight. Good night, everyone. We will talk to you next Sunday.